Item Number SCP-6013 Object Class Keter Special Containment Procedures SCP-6013 is to be surrounded at all times by a detachment of Foundation vessels in a 5-kilometer radius around its position. A mobile aquatic survey platform, hereafter referred to as Provisional Site 82 under the jurisdiction of NTF Tau 41, Hearts Alive, is to be stationed directly above its position at 80 degrees north, 71 degrees east. In accordance with Incident 201 cleanup procedures, all civilian naval traffic is to be redirected under the pretense of a chemical spill. Any personnel entering or leaving SCP-6013 must use Type B or higher environmental protections and receive daily physical and psychological assessments. All personnel working within the anomaly must complete repeated inspections as necessary to ensure the integrity of their suit PPE, air filtration units, and closed oxygen supplies. The protective installations of all Foundation assets within SCP-6013 must be similarly assessed and replaced as required. Consuming food or water within SCP-6013 is strictly prohibited. Regular seafloor surveys are to be conducted hourly to monitor any changes in water temperature, oxygen content, infrasound emissions, or seismic activity. Submersibles, ships, and divers are not permitted to make contact with flora and fauna surrounding SCP-6013 without approval from Site Command or unless acting in self-defense. Constant communication is to be maintained with RTF Omicron-14, Brides of Ishtar, while they are working within the anomaly. SCP-6013's interior and RTF Omicron-14, Brides of Ishtar, Agent Hannah Langford, hereafter referred to as SCP-6013-A. In its current state, SCP-6013 is inert and self-contained. It is incapable of doing direct harm to its surroundings or Foundation staff. Description: SCP-6013 is an intelligent Sarkic war leviathan resting at the bottom of the Kara Sea, northeast of Arkhangelsk, Russia. SCP-6013 is surrounded on all sides by complex formations of coral and flesh that obscure it from view. The ship, its surrounding macrocyst, root structure, and resident fauna, collectively SCP-6013-B, cover an area of approximately 9 square kilometers and weigh in excess of 138 million metric tons. SCP-6013's normal body shape is intact, except for a large breach in its dorsal surface. Only a small portion of the anomaly is exposed to the ocean, as most of its form is embedded in the Earth's crust. Radiometric dating suggests that SCP-6013 is approximately 3,000 years old. SCP-6013 is bilaterally symmetrical, with the body shape similar to a cetacean or pinniped. Its exterior is covered in ossified plates that make it resistant to most forms of penetrative imaging technology, including sonar, X-rays, gamma radiation, positron bombardment, and thermal imaging. LiDAR scans performed from inside SCP-6013 show that its interior is made up of multiple chambers of varying size and shape, separated from each other by tissue supports rich in metals and resident flora. The largest of these chambers is a ring-shaped corridor running the entire length of the body, which connects to a circular space at the body's center. SCP-6013-A has contained itself within this space, which it believes to be the bridge of SCP-6013. The interior of SCP-6013 stays at a constant 41 degrees Celsius and a relative humidity of 100%. Plastics and metals decay rapidly within SCP-6013's atmosphere, even if they are covered by laminates, redundant insulation, and other protections. Class B environmental suits have an operational lifespan of approximately 35 hours under these conditions. Microplastics and fat-soluble metals in the tissues of living organisms also decay in this manner if a subject is exposed. Prolonged exposure, 120 seconds or greater, dramatically increases a subject's chances of spontaneous genomic restructuring, thaumatological contamination, or introjective cognition. Any personnel exposed to SCP-6013's atmosphere must be quarantined and assessed for exocommunication as per Anathema contingency guidelines. There are many complex organic structures scattered throughout SCP-6013 that have atrophied or become inoperable by other means. Most are composed of an organic metamaterial with a color and consistency similar to volcanic glass. Spectrometric analysis suggests that this material, referred to as biolith, is composed primarily of calcium carbonate, keratin, and internal lattices of epithelial tissue. It is unclear what function these structures may have once served, or if they can be made to operate again. A small cluster of bioliths surrounding the pericardium appears to be the only part of SCP-6013 with functional components of this type. Various parts of SCP-6013's body resemble the quarters of a warship of its time period, albeit constructed on a much larger scale. There are also various structures that resemble warships built centuries or even millennia later. An array of airflows and metallic deposits now fully ossified are thought to be the remnants of an organic turbine or engine assembly. Most of the smaller chambers of SCP-6013 have flooded or become otherwise inaccessible. SCP-6013-A claims that the interior of SCP-6013 is locked in its current configuration, but believes that its body is capable of radical reconstruction under ideal conditions. A formation of large organs beneath the pericardium, called the valcicot, or shining lungs, contains a highly concentrated organic compound rich with bacterial, viral, and parasitic infectious agents. This compound is routinely sampled, extracted, and incinerated in accordance with anathema contingency asset excommunication procedure. Attempts to decontaminate this compound automatically using the filtration systems of SCP-6013 have met with limited success. Assuming that extraction efforts remain entirely manual, SCP-6013's pathogenic load will be fully neutralized in 11 years, 3 months, and 25 days. SCP-6013 has projected a sprawling network of visceral tube structures into the seafloor and the water surrounding it, using them to collect the minerals, nutrients, and oxygen with which it sustains itself. This network has grown far enough into the Earth's crust to reach the Russian coastline and penetrate into the water tables of West Siberia and the Obi River basin, through which it is able to access the inland aquifers of most of continental Europe. These tubes are one half of SCP-6013's primary weapon systems. They connect directly to the shining lungs, which, if commanded to fire, could distribute sarkic biomass and pathogens across a wide area with significant speed. This aversive mechanism is believed to be SCP-6013's primary terraforming strategy. SCP-6013 displays intelligence comparable to that of a human being. It has the capacity to lie, use figurative language, and engage in discussions about ethics, morality, and philosophy. SCP-6013 communicates using a variety of methods, including speech, gestures, pheromones, infrasound, and bioluminescent effect believed to be a form of telepathy, pictography, or hypnotic suggestion. SCP-6013 has called itself by a variety of names: Grapaf Typori 7, Harmony of Burrows, Valkyret, Shining Sculptor, and, as of its bond with SCP-6013-A, Betrav Nutam, believed to mean pilot's hand. If prompted, SCP-6013 will refer to itself, SCP-6013-A and SCP-6013-B, as Rhea, an honorific that describes all of the anomaly's collective biomass. Joining this mass is apparently an act of great religious significance to SCP-6013, and it has invited Foundation personnel to converge with it on multiple occasions. SCP-6013-A. SCP-6013-A is an intelligent entity currently controlling the body of deceased Foundation research agent Hannah Langford. It can dramatically alter its physical anatomy in order to construct organs, repair injuries, avert bones and muscle into prehensile appendages, and integrate itself with sarkic machinery. It has not altered the appearance of its face or body beyond fulfilling these functions. SCP-6013-A has limited control over the internal structures of SCP-6013 and has consciously acted through SCP-6013 multiple times. SCP-6013-A is permitted to use these abilities in compliance with asset excommunication procedure as outlined in the anathema contingency. SCP-6013-A is almost always lucid and does not appear to eat, drink, or sleep. However, it has been known to become catatonic or otherwise unresponsive for hours at a time, during which SCP-6013 speaks in a pitch and cadence nearly identical to that of Agent Langford's. This catatonia frequently reverts if SCP-6013-A is called to attention. These cognitive shifts can be initiated voluntarily by SCP-6013-A or involuntarily by SCP-6013. As long as SCP-6013-A remains capable of communication, such changes do not constitute loss of contact, as defined in Protocol Pitiless Descent. SCP-6013-A claims to possess a comprehensive knowledge of Agent Langford's thoughts, feelings, and memories, including her personality and relationships with her former colleagues and family. SCP-6013-A continues to wear all of the clothing, jewelry, and other items present on Agent Langford's person at the time of her death. It also displays the former dog tags of Site-82 head researcher Joanne Greer, which it stole from her during Incident 201, prominently around its neck. SCP-6013-A is known to experience frequent changes in affect in body language, mimicking Agent Langford's nervous tics and emotional states such as sadness, aggression, and fear with great accuracy. It claims to hold Site Director Isaiah Kamsky in particular contempt. SCP-6013-B. SCP-6013-B is a Sarkic microclimate that exists on the seabed surrounding SCP-6013. It is a diverse, active biotopography populated by plants and animals native to both the Arctic Circle and the Mediterranean Sea. Each organism has a heavily modified genome and a set of functional mutations that allow it to better survive in the Kara Sea. SCP-6013-B has its own climate, food chains, and evolutionary pressures, and the great diversity of specimens has made proper cataloging difficult. At present, SCP-6013-B instances seem unwilling or unable to leave the reef surrounding SCP-6013. Because of this, most of Site-82's anomalous flora and fauna are self-containing and require minimal attention. SCP-6013-B biosphere exhibits salinity, oxygen content, pH ranges, and microbial concentrations that are lethal to all non-extremophile forms of aquatic life. The water surrounding SCP-6013-B retains an average temperature of 37 degrees Celsius and is rich in amino acids, electrolytes, and organic compounds typically produced in the metabolic and excretory processes of animals such as urea, ammonia, lactic acid, and other such waste products. Craft operating in these conditions must be redundantly insulated to slow the corrosive effects of continuous exposure. Relative density and water pressure contain these compounds below a depth of 513 meters, clearly delineating the point at which the Kara Sea ends and SCP-6013-B begins. Instances of SCP-6013-B have extraordinarily high rates of bacterial and parasitic infection, but very few of the detrimental health effects that would be expected for such conditions. Individual instances often make dramatic transitions between body shapes, diets, reproductive behaviors, and other such qualities throughout their lives. Lifespans also vary greatly. SCP-6013-B1 and B2, for example, are estimated to be nearly 1,000 years old. While other specimens have lifespans ranging from months to hours, dead or dying, SCP-6013-B instances are often immediately consumed or reincorporated into the surrounding reef structure. Any attempts to study one in isolation must therefore make use of still living samples. Addendum: SCP-6013-BO is capable of producing Akiva radiation through an anomalous metabolic process. The amount of radiation produced correlates positively with the concentration, color, and luminosity of 6013-BO instances within the affected object. All materials containing 6013-BO, either living or dead, will retain this radiation until all 6013-BO biomass present in the material is removed. Values range from trace amounts in the surrounding seabed to 3 Akiva near the center of SCP-6013. During Incident 201, levels throughout the anomaly and surrounding water briefly peaked at 29 Akiva.